Welcome back to Session 0, and happy Halloween. I thought I would take advantage of the holiday with a classical Halloween monster, the werewolf. This is the werewolf on page 272 in the book, and it's mostly fine. I like quite a bit of it. Tags solitary and intelligent are fine. However, I do like the idea that it could be a group as well. A group is going to have fewer hit points. It's also going to do a little less damage, and I'll get to that in a second. We don't have to make our werewolf solitary or groups, though. We could have a solitary alpha werewolf and a group of lesser werewolves. I also put intelligent in brackets. Anytime in this video with this new type of layout I'm playing around with, anything in brackets is going to be an option. Intelligent, I think, is fine for both the humanoid portion and the beast portion of a werewolf, but you can also make it interesting to make it the type of werewolf where the person is intelligent, but the beast is not. The beast is purely instinctual, so I put that in brackets for that reason. Now, as far as the weapons are concerned, bite with a d10 plus 2 damage, 1 piercing. Close and messy, that is 100% fine for our alpha werewolf. But I also want to add claws because just a bite doesn't seem like a good enough weapon. So I've made mine jaws or claws and taken the damage down to d6 plus 1 with 1 piercing for the group. And that's obviously a way to deal damage, but can also use up their resources in this way. I'm thinking you make a move and miss, and a werewolf takes a swipe at you, but he tears off your backpack, he rips a weapon out of your hand, maybe wrecks your shield even. That's a great way to use up their resources. Special quality weak to silver is fantastic. That is what we see in most werewolves in media, but I like the idea that not only are they weak to silver, they are also, or rather, silver is lethal to werewolves. I have put this in brackets again, so you can make that choice for yourself. I like that a mundane weapon will hurt a werewolf, but silver is needed to kill them. Silver actually gives us a lot we can do as well. Given opportunity that fits the class's ability, I'm typically thinking here about mainly your wizard, because your wizard usually is the one you sink all your int into. But also, a ranger has the familiar prey move, which will let them spout lore. This is a useful bit of information to spout lore about. Also, let's look at the fighter. The fighter has the blacksmith move. Now, blacksmith is mainly about grafting new enchantments onto your signature weapon, but I think if you're a blacksmith, you're a blacksmith, and you know how to melt down silver. So that is going to give fighters a chance with that blacksmith ability to learn about silver and craft weapons using it. We can also show a downside to class race, or in this case, equipment. Non-silver weapons are not going to be lethal against a werewolf. Offer an opportunity with or without a cost. Anytime you present silver in this campaign that uses a werewolf, you're giving an opportunity. They may need to purchase it, they may need to steal it, whatever, but just presenting silver, especially once they know this useful bit of information, is going to be an opportunity. Put someone in a spot is interesting here because I had a player one time who had like a silver pendant or locket it was, and it didn't have like a little silhouette piece of paper in it. It had a silhouette engraved into it. And this wasn't a werewolf game, so I didn't even think about it then, but that would be an interesting way to put them in a spot. Do they melt down this pendant and use it to craft a silver weapon, or do they hold on to it for sentimental reasons, you know, putting yourself ahead of the situation? So I thought that would be an interesting way to put someone in a spot. Next, we have instinct, and I really don't like this instinct. To shed the appearance of civilization. That sounds way too erudite to be an instinct. I also think different werewolves should have different instincts. So here are just a few: to get revenge, to protect secret, to transform and run. I think every different werewolf could definitely have a different instinct, and that's a really good way for a GM to customize their werewolves. So I went with multiple different instincts here. The moves are fine, although I have reworded them a little bit. Of course, anytime you're using a monster move, you're using the GM move, use a monster move. The first move, transform to pass unnoticed as beast or man. I have reworded that for a couple reasons. Transform into wolf, hybrid, or in brackets, heritage. I like the idea of having three forms: a pure wolf, a pure person, and a hybrid. Now I've put heritage in brackets here because I always think of a werewolf as a man, quote unquote, being human, but you could have a dwarf werewolf, an elf werewolf. Think about how crazy an orc werewolf would be. So you don't have to just use man or human. You can use a different heritage, and I'm going to use that heritage throughout. That transformation could reveal an unwelcome truth. The person you're following, the person in the guard, is a werewolf. That is definitely an unwelcome truth. You can also separate them if this transformation happens between two party members. I think that would be a fun way to separate them. You can also put someone in a spot. What if this person who has just transformed is a sibling or lover of one of the party members? What are they going to choose to do? Are they going to side with the party, or are they going to side with the person they know? I always have a problem with turn their move back on them, but I do like the idea here. The cleric has a couple spells: Revelation, which will reveal something about a person. I like the idea that the revelation, you're using your cleric spell, and you are not expecting the revelation that this person is a werewolf. Now, that might not exactly work with revelation, but I think with divination, it definitely does. I like the idea that you are using divination on a person. What you see is a wolf devouring a person, and maybe you think that that person that is being devoured is the person you were using divination on, when in fact the person you're divining is that wolf. So that's a fun way to use that. Strike from within, I left the way it is, and it can use all of those same moves as well. But it can also use up their resources. I think you can get in a situation where you're not aware that they're a werewolf, and maybe the person in your group, be they a torchbearer, a friend, someone just tagging along with the group, is sabotaging your equipment, preparing for the time when they are going to, make a physical strike. So that's a fun way to use up their resources. The final move, Hunt Like Man and Beast, I have changed again. Hunt Like Heritage, so of course it can be any heritage, and or beast, and that and or really has to do with the intelligent. If the beast portion is not intelligent, they would only hunt like the beast. So that's something to think about. That move can, again, reveal an unwelcome truth. The thing that has been following you is actually hunting you and is actually a werewolf. Show signs of an approaching threat. This could be growls, smells, sniffing, things that a werewolf would do that you can catch on to. That can show signs of an approaching threat. And here's another great way to turn their move back on them. The ranger can track, and I like the idea that they are tracking someone who is also tracking them. I think that can be a lot of fun. As long as we're talking about ranger, here's another way I think you can give an opportunity that fits a ranger's abilities. I like the idea that they can use their wild empathy to speak to that wolf that has been lingering around. When they speak to that wolf, maybe that wolf has a far more intelligent way of answering than other animals do. And that could be a really fun way to maybe tip someone off that this is a werewolf. You're giving the opportunity to that ranger to talk to that werewolf and learn something. So that's really all I have. I am going to make this available as a PDF as well. It's going to be in the comments. I'll link it there, or I'll pin it there and link it in the description. This also has a section for notes so that you can, write down named NPCs who are werewolves, write notes about the instincts you've given to certain werewolves, etc. So that's all I have for this Halloween. This is a new way of laying out monster talk, and let me know in the comments if you like this method or not. I actually really like using this in play because all of those moves are right there, and I don't have to think about, which GM move am I going to make? I can look at this list knowing that I have a werewolf in play and know, okay, let me put them in a spot with transform, or let me give the opportunity to that ranger who has just taken the wild empathy move. So those are my thoughts on werewolf. Let me know what you think. Please like, sub, and comment all those things that YouTube likes, and I would appreciate it as well. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a safe and happy Halloween tonight. And if you're watching it in the future, I hope you had a safe and happy Halloween in 2023.